Sky Fox, what's going on, Rick?
A high-speed pursuit, and I mean high speeds. We're talking about 90 miles an hour. Sky Fox first on this, and the only media station that's on this. We're watching this on the 101 freeway in the westbound direction of the 101 freeway, coming out of Studio City, away from the Hollywood split. Inside, we're hearing two individuals, two suspects. This is allegedly a stolen car. And this pursuit began in LAPD jurisdiction coming out of East Los Angeles on the eastbound side of the 60. The pursuit made its way up to the 605. That's where these suspects made a northbound trek on the 605, connected with the 210 Foothill Freeway, and then made their way west on the 210 into Pasadena towards Eagle Rock, where the 210 turns into the 134, and now all the way into the San Fernando Valley. So this pursuit has definitely crossed a lot of real estate across the city of Los Angeles and beyond. High speeds, 90, even 100 miles an hour at times. This white minivan is racing down the 101 freeway in a westbound direction. The next major freeway will be the 405 in Sherman Oaks. I can see some police officers staging in advance, as they typically do. It's the Los Angeles Police Department and the California Highway Patrol that is pursuing this stolen vehicle suspect. Looks like he's going to transition here off the 101 freeway. This is that narrow transition, so it's going to get dicey here. 1-2 lanes at tops. Looks like he may make his way on the southbound 405 freeway here. So he's going to make that tight bend. And again, single file, as I said, so he's having to slow down for this FedEx truck here. And CHP units right behind him at this point. He's veering off to the right, using the right shoulder. This is that tight interchange, if you've ever taken it here. This is from the westbound 101 to the south 405. So this will take him southbound on the 405 back towards West Los Angeles, where Mario just reported is a major SIG alert on both sides of the 405 being impacted here. So he's going to make his way through the Sepulveda Pass. I'm looking up ahead, up at the top of the hill near Mulholland, and no traffic at all.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in just a few minutes as he approaches the accident scene.
Yes.
Yes.
Traffic is stopped up there.
And that's where we could see this thing come to an end, but it'll be interesting to see what his reaction is.
Here it is. There's the backup really quick. There is the backup.
Yeah.
See those red lights? It's coming up very quickly here. He's at Sunset. We'll come back down to the pursuit here, and he is still traveling south, and he has no idea what's coming up his way in terms of that backup. So this is really going to get dicey. That's the Sunset Overcross right there. He's flying down the carpool lane on the southbound side of the 405, coming now down towards Wilshire Boulevard, and the backup starts right around Wilshire. And these commuters are doing the right thing. They're pulling over to the right there. Wow, this is something else. Tony and Roxy. Traffic is going to be stopped coming up here pretty quickly. He's veering off to the right a little bit, but now back to the carpool lane.
And at the speed that he's traveling, I mean, this could be a potentially really dangerous situation coming up.
Yeah, because he's going to hit some traffic that is just stopped. He may see some brake lights already, so let's see what he does. If he starts getting moving off towards the right here and makes an exit, doesn't look like it. He's staying in the middle lanes there, approaching Wilshire Boulevard, southbound side of it. And here comes traffic coming to a stop here. Let's watch this. Let's get in a little bit tighter. This is something else. Look at this. Oh, he's losing control there, swerving. It looks like he did make contact with at least one vehicle. This is what we were afraid of. It wasn't as violent as we thought, but here we go. There's the backup. This is something else. Onto the right shoulder here. He's moving. Southbound side of the 405, and traffic is just stopped. Oh, he's going to use that on-ramp. He's making a loop here, and he's using an on-ramp going against traffic here, and look at that. So close to being a head-on crash. That looks like possibly a Caltrans vehicle that may have been doing some traffic control here. This is Wilshire Boulevard, so he's using the Wilshire Boulevard on-ramp to the southbound side of the 405 to exit the freeway. He didn't want any part of that backup. Now he's going to be going against traffic here. He is against traffic, almost a head-on right there. He is heading in a westbound direction, eastbound lanes. He's backed off on speed a little bit. Now, this is a situation. This is in the LAPD jurisdiction. We're in West LA. We're in the Brentwood area. You can see on the other side, that's the westbound side. He is moving this curve. This is a blind curve here on Wilshire Boulevard. LAPD 18 helicopters still illuminating him with their night sun. All right, he has made it over into westbound lanes. Now, right up against those cars that were making a left turn and across traffic. So dangerous. And they're still pursuing him. Again, I've seen situations, Tony and Aroxia, where they pull off because of the reckless nature of an individual, a suspect being pursued. He is heading now in a southbound direction possibly down Veteran at this point at a really high rate of speed. No traffic at all through the stoplights, and believe me, they are writing him up for every single infraction. We just hope that this ends safely and nobody gets hurt. Now here, maneuvering around the streets of West Los Angeles. Starting to slow down. I think that doors, it's going to be a bail. Oh, yeah, at least one individual popped out. So there was two. So the passenger in that minivan popped out, but the driver is continuing on. There is a unit immediately behind him, so they're going to take that guy into custody. Meanwhile, they're going to track this guy, but he's slowing down a little bit. So there may not be a unit behind him at this time. And again, these guys think that they've, evaded police at times. And there are times they get away. About 20% of the time, at least in LAPD, they get away. But some of those are because they back off because of high speeds. And,
Rick,
and
can you talk for a moment about where he is right now, his location?
And because it's so dark right now, Roxy, and he's making he made contact with something, some sparks. It's difficult to see these side streets. We're very close to Santa Monica Boulevard and the 405 freeway. He's heading, so close there. And again, hits that. It looks like he just crossed Sawtelle. And now there's the 405. Now he's making a right turn. Now he's heading south on this frontage street, right up against the 405 here on the west side.
Now,
West
Rick,
LA.
we are certain that at least one passenger bailed.
We didn't really see that.
Yes, absolutely. We saw it. We definitely saw one person hop out. Yeah, it's so dark. And
yeah.
at that point, the vehicle, this minivan, allegedly stolen, was not illuminated too well. But we definitely saw the door open. He slowed down, and I saw somebody hop out. So two people inside, and he's maneuvering through streets here. Whether or not he knows this neighborhood, it looks like he was just he was panicking and he got off the freeway. I believe, to the southbound 405, and this traffic is still stopped. So he's getting back on the 405. The ramp there, he's using the right shoulder to just skid by that big rig. There's nowhere for him to go. He's getting right back on the freeway where traffic is stopped. This is where the Siglard is. One side, at least. This is the south 405. Both sides of the 405 impacted. There's a Caltrans car. Look at that, maneuvering into traffic here. Such a dangerous situation. Officers don't know if this individual is armed or not, or at least we have not heard. Wow, this is something. Okay, now it looks like this is where lanes start to open up a little bit on the southbound side of the 405. There's the flare pattern, CHP, and here we go. He went past that big backup, and now he's got a wide open freeway. Southbound side of the 405, Tony Araxia approaching the 10. That northbound side, that's the headlight side heading up towards Santa Monica Boulevard, where we have the Siglard on the opposite side of the freeway. Possibly initiated by the Hollenbeck station. Is he going to take an off-ramp here? Wow, he's going at a quick rate. He was just trying to avoid.
Rick,
yeah, he looks
as we continue to watch this, and of course you will fill in the gaps here. Just want to set the scene here. It's 5 o'clock
exiting the freeway
morning.
really quickly. Exiting the freeway here. Exiting the freeway. Let's see what he does. He just made impact with a curb. And it looked like his car was disabled somewhat. We've seen some sparks fly out the back end of it. It's unclear if he's got a flat tire. Now he's making a U-turn. And this is a neighborhood he might be familiar with. So now he's going against traffic. I'll try to get you this street here in just a moment. The major here on this street. It's 5 o'clock. You're watching Fox 11 News. And again, we've been tracking this pursuit from up here in Skyfox for the last 20-25 minutes. And the amount of real estate that he has covered in that short period of time, from the valley where we first picked this up, towards the West Valley, through the Sepulveda Pass, down towards West LA, now east of downtown LA, in the East Los Angeles area, on surface streets, having exited the 60 freeway just past the East LA interchange.
You know, oftentimes we talk about how the suspects end up going back to the same neighborhood, or where they're familiar, where they're comfortable, where they know the streets and the side streets. And we're not quite sure if that's the case here, but this is the vicinity where the pursuit began to begin with.
Yeah,
that's where the stolen car was reported.
Exactly, and that was a point I made just a short time ago, Roxy, and that, it'd be interesting to see if he does choose to exit in this area where he's comfortable with, because this is possibly the area where the pursuit was first initiated by the LAPD on the east side of downtown LA, through East LA, now on surface streets here, and you can see the illumination of the minivan here. More sparks out the back end. So this car looks to be possibly disabled here a little bit. I don't know if he's lost a tire or not. It's too difficult because of the darkness to determine that at this time. He may feel that that's an easier way out. Let's see what he decides to do that. He's going to take an off-ramp here in downtown LA. Now this might get dicey for us as well. Oh, now he's choosing to do a hop back on the freeway. So he's playing a little cat and mouse there with officers. Now he's going to take this off-ramp. He's committed here. It's a 6th Street off-ramp, and 6th Street is undergoing all of that construction. And again, this is going to be difficult for us with the skyscrapers here to maneuver around here. We don't have the clear airspace, but we're going to do our best to track this from up here above the city. Downtown LA still pretty vacant at this time. There's 6th Street looking up ahead, and he's got an open road making his way eastbound. And again, these are a lot of one-way streets. You guys know downtown LA. North and southbound and east and west. Again, the east-west streets are the numbered streets.
That has not been a deterrent for him up to this point, it seems.
No, not at all. And he's making his way across downtown LA. It looks like there's a red light here. Going through the intersection there, right through that red light. Again, another infraction which they are keeping close tabs on. Everyone, this guy, once they bring him into custody, and we hope he is brought into custody. Oh, across an intersection there, very close. Running another red light, heading in an eastbound direction. Now he's on the east side of downtown LA, and we're able to look through the canyon here of these skyscrapers, as is the LAPD unit. Making a left turn now, heading northbound. If this is Main or Broadway, we'll get a location here for you. And again, LAPD units, they're all listening in on a specific frequency so they can, there's a pedestrian there crossing over the street. Okay, looks like he might bail out here. There he goes. He just popped out of the vehicle.
Oh my goodness.
That is the driver.
And
that is the driver.
It was still moving at a pretty good speed.
And let's see what the car's doing here. The car's coming to a stop. And that was the driver who dropped out, and I think he hit his head rather violently. That car is not occupied right now. Wow, what a crazy ending to this pursuit. The suspect on the ground here. He's moving his arm. He's moving both of his arms.
But you're right. It looks like he looks injured. He may have been injured because that car was still moving at a fairly rapid.
I can't tell if that's a female or a male. It is a female. That was a female driver there. We had no description of any of the suspects. We couldn't tell the individual who was able to jump out, and she's being taken into custody. But she made impact with the ground rather violently here in downtown LA. CHP is taking her into custody at this time. Now, usually when it's a female, and if there's a female officer, it's a female officer that will come over and check her for weapons, contraband at this time. But you know, given the severity of the situation, those are male officers that are detaining her, cuffing her, and will be taking her into custody. Allegedly a stolen vehicle suspect, definitely a suspect that was driving incredibly recklessly down the freeways of Southern California, the 60, the 605, the 210 freeway, the 405, back onto the 10, back onto the 60, exiting, getting back on the 60, then up the 110 freeway, exiting at 6th Street through downtown Los Angeles. Here's the vehicle, and they're going to make sure they're going to clear it, obviously, before they can code for it. But it did not appear that anybody else exited the minivan, except for the individual we saw hop out of the minivan in West LA. So this appears to have come to a conclusion here. Hopefully nobody, no innocent pedestrians or motorists were injured in this. From what we saw, perhaps just a couple of minor impacts between the minivan and other automobiles, especially on the 405 freeway southbound, when this female suspect made contact possibly with a couple of vehicles in the backup of that SigAlert on the South 405 on the west side.
Although we're not certain at this point whether the suspect herself may have been injured, because again, that vehicle was moving pretty quickly.
That was a hard fall.
She hit hard, and they will definitely call for paramedics from the Los Angeles Fire Department before. They're not going to put her in the back of a car here. That's standard protocol.
All right, well, Rick, we're going to recap this pursuit, which was pretty wild as far as pursuits go, not only in terms of the real estate covered. I mean, this woman covered a lot of ground.
What you're looking at, so on the top left corner is what's happening at the moment. At the bottom right-hand side, you can see just how erratic that pursuit was. It began a little bit after 4 o'clock in East LA.
You
That's
can see
where
that
a
she
vehicle was
sideswiped
stolen.
a tow truck or something there.
A number of times. The vehicle was stolen. 2 people were inside. So we watched this. We're talking about the 60 freeway, the 605, the 210, the 134, the 405, back and forth a number of times. So covered a lot of real estate.
Wrong way driving, as we see here.
At one point, wrong way driving because that female driver, the suspect, was headed towards the 405 where it's shut down as a result of a police-involved vehicle got into an accident earlier this morning. 3 other cars were involved. Mario's been on that story talking about how the 405's been shut down and the vehicle was
So we saw the vehicle going,
wrong way.
exiting the freeway on an on-ramp.
Right. And then watch closely here. This is right around the time the passenger side door opens. It happens quickly. It's very dark. It's hard to see, but you will see it open.
Right here.
And someone rolls out.
Rolls out.
There it is.
There you see it.
And that's when...
and we don't know the gender of that person at this point.
No, we don't.
We don't know whether that's a male or a female because we were very surprised to find out that the driver was a female.
We'll watch it again just because it
And only
happens
because
fast.
the majority of the pursuits are male suspects. On occasion, we do see a female suspect. But we had no description on the suspects at all.
And we just saw the video of her making that hard landing out of that minivan. I mean, that minivan was still traveling at a fairly good clip when she bailed out. And I mean, she hit the street hard, Rick.
And that's the end.
And her head possibly. And so they're going to check her out. Paramedics down below, as you see on the other monitor there. They're checking her out, as I'd indicated.
All right, Rick, it was a wild pursuit. Thanks so much for covering it. First on the scene. We watched it happen, and we'll come back to this story and show you some of that video if you missed it. It was a crazy way to start the day, right?
All right, it certainly was.